Oh, now what? Hey, thanks for dropping by. Can't Let Her Die DIY. Who are we saving today? This 1986 Kubota tractor. It's a four-wheel drive, L2550. Yes, it's the L series. And it's 1986, so that's 14 plus 20. That's 34 years. 34 years old. We can't let this baby die. No way. We use this all the time in the summer and the winter to remove snow, blow some snow with the snow blower on the back. It is fantastic. It's been a great tractor. It's the quality in this. I wish everything worked like that. It is great quality in this Kubota. But we're not going to take it down to the dealership. We're not going to take it to a mechanic. We'd have to float it there. We're going to do it ourselves. What's the problem? Well, it's leaking fluid from the front axle around the gear case, in the front gear case there. The beveled gear case. So yeah, I'm going to get you in there and take a look at it, but first you better throw on some old clothes because we're going to get messy, and that's always fun. So throw on your old clothes, meet me back here in 5 minutes. Let's get underneath that tractor. I'll show you how it's leaking. I know it's important to you because if you found this channel, you probably have a Kubota similar to mine. You probably love it, similar to what I do, and you can't let it die. You got to get this fixed because you can't afford a new one. And you know what? These tractors are better anyway. I think the old ones are better. The quality's in there. The steel's better. It's heavier. It's got a bigger frame. It's not as cool looking as the new Kubotas, but I'm not looking for cool. I'm looking for something that gets the work done, gets it done well, and doesn't break on me. Perfectly reliable. This is it. This machine is great. I love it. Anyway, enough talking about that. Let's get dirty. Throw on your old clothes. Meet me back here in 5 minutes. I'll get you under there. I'll show you how it's leaking, and then we'll start taking it apart. That's always fun, and hopefully I'll be able to put it back together. Does yours look like this? So I'm going under the left front tire here. We got her jacked up. I guess I should show you that. I just used the downward pressure on the bucket. Lifted it up, put jack stands under there, make sure it's safe. I wiggle it, I push and wiggle, make sure it's very, very stable, and it is. Take a look at that. Can you see that? This is the front axle case. This is the beveled gear case. And this is the axle case. So it's leaking right here. There's a seal in there. All along there, and it's leaking down here, dripping down along the tire, and forming a puddle on the floor. This one's leaking the most. That one, the one on the other side, is also leaking. So it's time to get this done. We're going to snap the tire. We're going to take the tire off. We're going to take the tire off, and we're going to take this off right here. These bolts, and we're going to remove that, and we're going to remove this. And we're going to get in there, take out that beveled gear, and there's seals in there, there's C-clips. It's going to be fun, you know. It's going to be challenging, it's going to be fun. But you know what? You got this. You can do this. This is going to be a fun job. You're going to have beveled gears in your hands. You're going to have bigger gears, wheel gears. You're going to have bearings, C-clips. This is going to be fun. There's lots of oil, lots of mess, but all under control, sort of. You want to see the tools we're going to need? It's not a lot of tools. Come take a look. I laid out all the tools that I used. First you got to order the parts you're going to need. There's the new seal. It comes in, there's two parts to it, and you'll need this. It's an O-ring. You need that. You'll need sandpaper for cleaning. I use 600 grit. You'll use this the most, a piece of wood for pounding. A couple of products, WD-40 for cleaning, PB Blaster for loosening seized nuts, anti-seize grease. That's pretty good. And you don't need these things, but it's nice to have. Gasket maker, you will need that. Probably should get that for sure. Couple screwdrivers for prying, a chisel. You're wondering why I need a chisel? Watch the video. It gets exciting. Couple of ratchet drives, 3/8, 3/5, and the breaker bar. And you're probably wondering what I broke with that. You'll see. Extension, we got a 12 millimeter, 17 millimeter, 17 millimeter, and a 19 millimeter for the lug nuts. Needle nose pliers, I always use those for the cotter pin. 2 C-clip pliers, so these are for compressing the C-clip, and this one's for expanding the C-clip. A couple of hammers. You should get away with the light hammer for light tapping, but when that doesn't work, bring out the BFH, big friggin' hammer, and that takes no prisoners. And that is a lot of fun. There's quite a lot of use of this, as we come across a lot of stubborn bolts. Anyway, they all give in, and pick up some, you may want to top up your oil for your gear oil, so between 80 and 90 weight. And that's it. I mean, it's just stuff you have around the shop. This is going to be good. Let's get to it. We got to clean it, because if we don't, we're going to get this dirt inside these seals and inside the gears and stuff like that. So this is the worst part of the whole thing, cleaning. Who knew? This thing's blue. I thought it was brown the whole time. I moved you around to the back of the front tire so that you can see we're going to have to remove the oil from the gear case, front gear case. So right here, we take that plug out, and there's another plug. So there's one plug, and the other one where you empty it is right there. And the filler is up here. You probably know that, but it's good to get it pointed out. And it's a 17 millimeter. If we get onto it here, we should be able to drain this. There doesn't appear to be any water in it. It looks like it's pure oil, and it looks like it's pretty clean, so that's great. We don't want water in this. $17 millimeter does this one as well. And if you use a clean container, you'll be able to reuse the oil. Once the oil slows down, it's time to start tearing this thing apart. So we're gonna remove the plug so that we can get the rest of the oil in there. So there's a plug on the bottom of the beveled gear case, right here. So this is the axle. There's a slot here where you can get your flat slotted screwdriver in and pry that cap out, and there's one on the back. And there should be a gush of oil, the remaining oil coming out. So we'll try that. I've been able to work that plug a little bit loose with the screwdriver, getting in here this slot. You can see I've moved it down 4 or 5 millimeters, right? I moved my oil catch can away from it because it's clean oil, and even though I cleaned it around here, when that pops down there's going to be gravel and stuff will come out. So I'm going to use a dirty can so I don't contaminate my clean oil. I want to reuse that, so that's the plan. So I'll just work this a little bit more. Hopefully it'll pop off. It's pretty clean, right? But there is a little bit of crud along the edge, so you don't want to contaminate your good oil with that crud, because it's gravelly, oily crud. So there's that. Moving right along. Now that I have that totally drained, I'm going to put the plugs back in it, these ones. First ones I did just to prevent contamination from getting back in. So there's no oil. I'm pretty confident all the oil's out, and now we can tear it down the rest of the way. This is how much oil you should have in there. That's how much I collected, that much. And that bigger pan has about 1.5 inches in it, so it's quite a bit of oil. Hopefully you didn't lose it all and ran it dry. So there you know, you should at least have that much. Next thing we got to do is get the steering linkage off, or this tie rod in off of here. Pull that out. The steering is being a little stubborn, so we're going to take it breaker bar. Hopefully we don't break it. Just break it loose. The steering leakage. I'm having a hard time getting this off. Look. That is on there. Guess 1986, 34 years old. Rusted on, sorta, corroded. I got the PB blaster on it. It's soaking in that. That might help. It's time to bring out the big boys. Real big hammer, chisel, pry in here. right in there. Hammer that in there, and as it gets bigger, this chisel gets bigger, it'll put an upward force on that. Hit it with your BFH big friggin' hammer. And it should pop right off. We'll see. It's usually where it breaks something. I got it. You pound in here like that, do upward pressure on there, and then I hit it right here, right there, not on the tie rod, not on the steering linkage there, not on the tie rod, but on the right below it. And this put upward pressure on it, and it popped up. It just popped up, and I think it's the PB blaster. It's really good, and the more you work it, the more it gets in there, and it eventually just loosens that up, and then it pops up. So you can't hit the tie rod in, you can't damage the rubber, but you can get a wedge in there, wedge that so it's an upward force, and then pound on here, and I believe it's the vibrations and the jiggling and that, and the PB blaster works its way down through the pivot there, and it just pops off like that. So a little harder when it's 34 years old, but hey, it's rewarding when you get it. So there you go. Now I'm going to remove the axle case from the beveled gear case. That's the beveled gear case. This is the axle case. We've got what we got, 6, 8, 4, looks like 8 12 millimeter bolts right here that needs to come off. So then we can pull this off and get a look at the gears in there. So that's what we're going to do. Stay tuned. The bolts seem to be fighting me here today. Break them all free. Looks good. That there is the beveled gear that we're talking about. And that's the pin that goes up. Right, here's the plug that we took off. Plug, it's got, so it should be a C-clip in there. And a big washer. And that should slide down like that and come out that way. When that happens, anyway. So we've got two bolts on here this way, and these bolts are going in, and then these are nuts on the bottom, which was kind of scary at first. I didn't know that, so when I took those nuts off, I thought I sheared off the bolt, the head off the bolt, which I didn't, so that's good. But that's why these YouTube videos are good, so you know what to expect. And I find on the internet a lot of people leave a lot of steps out, and especially the hard ones where they're having difficulty, they turn off the camera and then they do it, and they just tell you what they did, and that's the part you actually have to see, the hard part, the parts where they're struggling. So I try to get that for you guys, but it makes my video so long. So anyway, you can always fast forward through it. Okay, next step is to go underneath with your C-clip removing tool, I guess, or snap ring, some people call it. We're going to go under here, under there, and remove that C-clip. I'm going to get you in there. Let's see if I can get you in there. You see that there? There's one end of the clip there. So I get this tool, get in there, put those prongs up both those holes like that, and squeeze that together. That's going to compress that C-clip, which is holding that beveled gear. This beveled gear, right? There's a C-clip and then a washer, and it's holding that up in there, see? That's just keeping that from coming down. So I'm going to remove those two clips, get them out of there with this C-clip tool, and I don't really want to lay the camera down on the oil, so you've seen it right there. Now you know what I'm going to do. Stay tuned. Got it. C-clamp. Yeah. C-clip. Snap ring. There's a couple different names for it. And even with this tool, it's kind of tricky to get it, right? So you really need one of these. Now there's a washer, it's just sitting in there, so I gotta make sure I get that before that falls down. Jeez, it just fell down. Now this should come right down. Isn't that cool? I can move the tire on the other side just by turning this. So there's the bearing. There it comes. Now some people's it comes down a lot easier because I think it's worn out. Mine is nice and it looks good in there. Hey, everything looks really good. No water got in there. There was no damage. Now the seal was leaking it out, but I kept filling this up with the oil, so I kept it full, and I'm really happy with the way this looks. It looks brand new. Hey, 1986. There's no dings, there's not even crud in there. So it pays to change that oil every season. Or, yeah, I do it every season, pretty much. Once a year. And I don't use it too much, right? It's always below the hours. It tells you how many hours you're supposed to change it. And I just do it all in the winter. I try to change the oil. I tried to change all the oils and stuff like that, so I think it's paying off for me because it kept water out of there even though that seal was eventually going. I also don't leave my tractor outside in the rain and in the snow and that sort of stuff. Try not to. I keep it in the garage, so it's paying off for me. Anyway, let's get this up. Let's get this thing off. Hopefully yours looks pretty good too. Talk to you later. That's free, and that will come out. It should go right down. I think a little tapping right there, a little jigging, a little persuasion will get that out. Should be nothing holding it. Pulled the drain plug out from right here. I unscrewed that. I'm going to stick a screwdriver in through this drain hole in there and just push down, put a little pressure on that to drop that down, hopefully. Oh yeah, that works great. Can you see that? Get you in there a little better. I'm going in there and I can get to the top, right in there, the top of that, and I can pry down on this. Look at that. Oh, man, that was sweet. I love it when it works out. Some things go hard, some things go easy. And now you know how to get that out easy without dropping it, smashing it, getting it in your oil. Look at that. Works great. It's not worn at all. Now I'll assemble these. I'll lay these out exactly the way I took them off, so that I know for sure. If I'm a couple days waiting for parts or whatever, I know exactly how it goes back on. So it was like that. And the plug that we had taken out earlier, so I'll go lay this with those. There's another C-ring up inside there, up inside that gear. If you look up there, you'll see another C-ring that I have to get with this, compress it, and there's a gear up in there, the other end of it, the wheel bearing, the bearings. If you remove that C-clip or snap ring clip, whatever you want to call it, take that out, that should fall down. If not, I can kind of manipulate it right here, push down on it, and get that out. That's what we're going to try. It's a pin. I took out the innards part so that I can have something soft, because I just don't want to damage it. It's coming. Getting a little gap there. Can you see? Right in there. Starting to separate. So if you tap down on the axle case, The beveled gear case will separate from the axle case. A little stubborn, huh? We're making progress now. I just want to catch it. I don't want it to smash down there. We got a 1/4 inch gap now, so it is going to fall anytime soon. Take a look. Can you see in there? See that gap I have? This is how the service manual says. Either you tap it down directly on the bearing, the ball bearings, or you do it this way. I think this way is better. Yeah, I didn't catch it. There it is. She's all tight. She's in good shape. You know? There's the bearing in there. And right here, that is what we're trying to get to. Right there is the seal that's failing. And the oil, the gear oil is coming up, it's seeping down through there, right? But look, those bearings are beautiful. I want to make sure I don't get any dirt in there. I'll clean that all out. Keep that in nice shape. So here's another look at the top of the beveled gear case. That's the beveled gear. There's where the seal. There's the old seal. Right here, my finger is. Just put this light. And there's the bearing. See how smooth that operates? That's looking pretty good. And the one down below is looking pretty good too. So this little rubber part right here, this is the failed part, the seal. It goes around the top there. You can see where dirt kind of accumulates and then probably works its way in around there. If you leave it out, if water gets in there freezing, you know, that sort of thing, and it can deteriorate the seal. So I got a seal coming tomorrow. Should be in. I ordered it, and that seal right there. So we got to pop that off and just clean it out. Make sure there's no grit or anything in there, and everything looks pretty smooth. So far, it's looking pretty good. So pretty happy with it. And the other part that goes into that on the tractor here is right there. So you can see the dirt that goes down right around. There's a little lip there, but the seal would be right here, right? So that's how that operates. So far, so good. Things are looking good. Things are going smooth. We've got it off, and it's a good time to take a break. Let's see if we can get that seal out, the rubber seal. First, we want to clean off the top. Make sure no dirt gets down on the bearings, on the ball bearings there. On the bearings. So I'm going to clean it with WD-40, wash it down a little bit. What I'm trying to do is pry the seal out right here where this wall's the thickest, so I don't damage this the case or mar it up or anything. It's thick right here, and I'm not putting much pressure on this. It's all getting down and trying to bend out the seal. Bend it out this way, a little bit away from here, and then be able to grab it and pull it out. Did you see how easy that came out? Once you applied the pressure to the right spot, it just popped right out. This new seal from Kubota, this one, appears to be redesigned a little bit better than the old seal. You can see there's a lot more steel. The instructions say that you put the rubber part down like this and you pound it in place. It's thicker, it's beefier. The steel part is a lot thicker as well. Can you see that? So it would be like that. So it is genuine Kubota parts. I think are it's good to do in certain parts. You should get genuine, and when it comes to seals, I mean, geez, you better get the right seals. So so far it looks good. Goes right there. I'm going to put some. I'm going to put a little bit of grease around here just to make it seal even better. I see it's packed in. I see it's packed in a Vaseline-like grease right there. So it is fully lubricated. So I'm not going to add grease to it. I'm just going to make sure it is nice and slippery. And it is. It goes in like this. And we got to get it in there perfectly straight. It's the key. Like that. There's the part number for that seal from Kubota. And now we're ready for the seal installation kit. Now we have to install this seal in here. We have to press it down. Now you can get a seal installation kit. They can range from $30 to upwards to $100. There's all kinds of different fancy ones. I have one that you may like. I'll just zip in here. And since we're trying to save money here, doing all our work ourselves, you may want to pick yourself up one of these. Comes in a fancy little kit. Get over here. Comes in a fancy little kit, and this is what I use. That's right. Just a piece of wood and a hammer. That's what we'll be using here at Can't Let Her Die DIY to get this seal in. Now I'll pull you in and let's see if this works. We have to get it in straight. That's the most important part. it's not quite in on this side here. Take your time, work around, get it all in nice and flush with the wheel case, the beveled wheel case, all the way around. Feel it. Now you can feel that's up a little bit in the back. So I want to take it like that and just make sure that's down in the back, where it's a little harder to get at. And then give it a few more whacks just to make sure. This is a stainless steel cover that goes over the seal. It also comes with that seal, so it's a new and improved Kubota seal. New and improved, I mean my tractor's 1986, so this may have been new for a long time, but these are the original seals. These are the original. And the mud actually does get around here, sits on there. I got it stuck one day, I got mud in there, and I think if that ever does happen to you, make sure you hose it down, get that mud off the top of the wheel, because and rain and water and stuff, it starts to get into this seal, and I think that's what causes the seal to eventually leak. Little grains of sand and grains of mud, silt gets in there and works its way down more and more every time it moves, and it gets in there. So anyway, they've come out with this stainless steel top to this seal. It goes on like this, and you do not pound this in with the hammer. You cannot deform this. It sits on there and you just put it in the best you can without tapping. And that is designed to keep the mud out of the seal. Way to go, Kubota, to improve the parts as we go along, to improve the replacement parts. That's great. And it just looks solid. It looks like a better seal than the original. It's got more thought, more engineering into it, and it's designed better, and it went in quite easily. And as long as it keeps the oil in there, I'll be happy. Sort of like that, we're gonna put this on the tractor and jack it up, and that will press this into place. That will maintain that from mud getting in there. Now we want to clean up this edge of the axle case, right? Right, you see, on this side, and make sure all the crud and the gasket material is off of that, so it's nice and smooth. This is 600 grade sandpaper, wet sandpaper, but anything that can clean that off is what you're looking for. And I also want to clean right here. This is the bottom, the plug. Remember that plug went on there? It's kind of dirty there. So I am going to take a screwdriver, clean out as much dirt as I can. Then I'm going to take the sandpaper and sand it out, make that nice and smooth, because that cap goes back on the bottom there, and I don't want it to leak around that cap. I will probably put a little bit of seal maker on that cap. Since I'm using the original cap, I didn't buy the new one. I'll try it with a little bit of seal maker, and it looks pretty good anyway. Probably has never been off. Shows no signs of ever being off, so probably don't have to do that, but I'm going to do it anyway because I have it here. And if it does leak in the end, I can just buy a new cap from Kubota. They're like $10, so that's what I'll do. Okay, it's time to put this beveled gear case onto the axle. Beveled gear case goes on here. We're going to jack it up into place. It's got the seal on it, so we're good there. It's been cleaned out. Put a little oil around it so that everything will slide on nicely. And now we're going to press it up in place with this jack. Okay, I'll get you in closer. That on there like that. Get that up in there. Sort of like that. We're going to slide this in. So I got the new seal on the wheel case, the beveled wheel case right here. You saw that. But getting it on here, it doesn't seem, comes up against something. So I had to do more research. I found out that this new design seal, which is taking place with the old seal, there's 3 parts to the old seal, not just 2. So I'll show you. So you got the rubber part here and the steel part to the seal as well. It can come apart. So right there with the rubber, and it sits in like that. But on here you also have a part to the seal right here. So that would normally go up like this and form that seal there. Well, we no longer need this. So this is a very easy thing to miss. I'll zoom you in. So I got to pry this off for the new seal to fit properly. We no longer need this inner part to the old design seal. So 3 parts to that seal. There's 2 here and 1 there. So I can see a lot of people missing that if you don't, or this part has been redesigned and re-engineered to be a better seal, which looks sturdy. It looks like it's a really good seal, so I'm pretty happy with that. But it's easy to miss this, so you can feel a little rubber there. And I think this is specific to my tractor, only a few of the L2550, because I watched some YouTube videos of other tractors, but there's not anything of the 2550, L2550 when you do, right? So it's very easy to miss this part. So this inner seal has to come off. I'm going to get you in there. And you just get your, you can see where it's coming off now, right? See the little gap that's forming? And you can get in there and gently pry from all sides, best you can. You should be able to. Oh, there she's really coming down. Get that off. So this new design seal, it's designed to do a better job getting the mud out. So, and that's obviously what took out my caused the problem when I got this tractor stuck really deeply in a mud hole. It was quite fun actually, but I think that mud over time worked its way into this seal. There's the inner part. See, it looked, it almost looks like part of the casting here if you didn't know. So that's why YouTube is a pretty good system to show you things like that. Now I needed someone to help me hold this while I pounded it on. So once it's lined up, you get them to hold it in place. Some people talk about using a jack to jack this up onto, but for me that didn't work. The jack, you cannot get it aligned properly. It applies pressure in the wrong direction, and you're dealing with a lot of power in a jack, a lot of strength there. You can bend or break something. So, and it doesn't really, so it catches, it doesn't work right well. Don't even waste time doing that. This is the best way that I found. It's just a piece of wood and a big freaking hammer, and have some fun going at it. And you can think about whoever you want to doing this. You got to get it up far enough to get the snap ring on, so you really have to get it all the way up. Snap ring or a C-clip. It's got to go on that under there. It's got to go back in place right in the groove. The back in first, it's easier. If you can do that. And it's quite a game. But sometimes it goes very easily. And sometimes it doesn't. Oh, that was so close. Take number 2. Feels like it went on. It looks good. Now I just got to test it that it's totally in the groove all the way around. Next step, we got to put the beveled gear up in place. It holds and a shim goes up, and then the C-clip like that. So to hold the shim onto the lower bearing, we will, a helpful hint is to apply some grease, wheel bearing grease, or any grease, whatever you have in the shop really, but wheel bearing, since it's next to the wheel bearing, would be the best. But I don't think it matters too much really. It's just so it sticks, just a little easier. That doesn't fall down on you. So we got to try to get everything up in there. Sort of like that. And then this is going to go up like that. And all that has to go up there, like that. See that? So that will slide up once you get the splines lined up. And then this wheel bearing, yep, that's going up too. And the splines are lined up on that. Now we got to get that wheel bearing up far enough to put on the snap ring and the shim. So we may take our trusty bearing tool, piece of wood and a hammer, and evenly apply enough force to get that up. That moved quite a bit. Hey, we got it. Now that we got the bevel case on and the bevel gear down in here, right, and everything appears to be working quite well. Got the cap on. I put a little bit of gasket around there. Gasket maker just on the inside of that cap, so that I didn't have to, I don't really need to purchase a new one if this, the cap seems pretty good. So right now we got to prepare the gear case to go back on. So the same way, there is a little There is a gasket on this. It's basically just an O-ring, but I did purchase one because I don't want to do this again. I actually have two. I'm going to do the other side as well. There's the part number. You can see that. There's the part number. I checked the size of it to make sure it fits before I destroy the old one, and it does. It seems to fit perfectly. So I'm pretty happy with that. Now we can remove the old gasket. We'll take a little sandpaper to this part right around here. See that O-ring right there? It looks like it's in good shape. You could probably get away with leaving it there, but when you start doing that, you start getting leaks, right? And you realize they do charge you like $10 for that O-ring, but I think it was $10. Anyway, to do it right, you replace it. So we're replacing it. What, 34 years? It deserves retirement. The new gasket. Matches the orange paint in here. All right. Now I'm going to tighten these axle case bolts to, and these are 12 millimeters. We're going to tighten them to 17 to 20 foot-pounds. So I got it set for 20. Actually goes to 20.2, so 20 foot-pounds. And we do it alternate from side to side, best you can. specs. Get rid of the remaining gasket. Excess gasket all coming out, that's a good sign. Get you in a little closer, you can expect my work. Now we're going to reattach the tie rod in. Right there. Anti-seize grease. Just because it's so hard to get off. And this may help next time. So here's the finished job. I got everything done. Here's the axle case was attached to the bevel case right here. You can see a little bit of the gasket material. I cleaned all that up. It's good that it's squeezing out. That means it's working properly. We got the tie rod in back on, and there's the seal, how it looks when it's all put together. It's just steel down there. You're not seeing rubber, no exposed rubber. That's nice. I'm pretty confident it's a better seal. So now we just got to fill this up full of oil. Make sure you can take this off. This lets the air out. There's the filler plug. So you unscrew that, you fill that up, and it would go to both sides, right across to the other one. I'm going to do the other seal as well, so I'm not going to fill it right here for you, but you know how to do that. This has been great. So hopefully I helped you. It's a long video. I don't leave anything out, and I like to show my mistakes, or if I go down the wrong way, like using the jack didn't work, so I leave that in there because I think it's important to see the mistakes more so than what goes right, eh? So we all make mistakes, and it's important, and you will too, but hopefully you make a lot less because you watch this video. So if I helped you out, let me know, because I like to hear good comments. If there's something you don't like, let me know too. So ring the bell or send some comments, like it if you do, subscribe if you want to. There's going to be more videos. I like doing this, it's fun. And I can't say it too much. You've got this.